What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Rebel Ranks. And if you're a regular here, you already know what was coming, and if you're not, you probably saw the title and the thumbnail, and you too know what's coming. Source levels of Spyro 3.
You want a piece of me, Rhynoc boy?
Spyro. The level design in these games is the biggest reason why these were my favorite games growing up, and I'm not giving anything away from which is my favorite because level design is only one part of the game, but Spyro 3 has, in my opinion, the best level design in the trilogy. So ranking them ended up being pretty tough, both for the best and the worst. Well, minus the flying levels. Actually, my ranking ended up basically having all the main levels in the top half, with the other stages all essentially being ranked worst in general. On the best half, only 3 ended up being an SPC level or a hub, so here's how I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna rank all the non-Spyro levels and hubs in the worst video, and the groups I rank these in will also be best to worst, and the first half will literally just be the main 16 levels, which makes sense to me. So smash that like button, subscribe, and let's get on with it.
And before we get into the first group of levels, I did want to talk about Super Bonus Round, because while it is a great level, there is one thing about this level that I cannot stand.
Now, in general, I'd have to say that Super Bonus Round, or SBR, is the best bonus stage in the trilogy. It's got a bunch of gems, which is super rewarding, maybe doing what 1 did, but better, and it has the submarine section, which might not be as good as the roller coaster from 2, but it does come close. The flying after the thieves is great, though, and that leads us to the skating section. Man, this is annoying. I did cover this in the retrospective of 3, but to reiterate, I hate this. It's so easy to not come in first, it's so easy to just fall to your death, and to top it off, the payoff of getting 100% because you saw the sorceress's arm come out of the lava after her boss battle, the worst boss battle in the game. Yeah, it's lame.
Yes, SBR feels great at first, but the skateboard section and the final boss just completely, it's bad, man, it's bad. And now moving on to the best subgroup of Spyro levels, the hubs.
The hubs in Spyro 3 are great. Now, they aren't as good as the hubs in Spyro 2, being that those had amazing secrets in them, but at least there's 4 here. I will say the hubs are definitely one thing that Spyro 2 hands down did better than Spyro 3, but regardless, the best hub in Spyro 3 has got to be Midnight Mountain. I don't know what it is, but the nighttime ambiance is just so cool, and this hub is basically just floating islands. There's just something about getting here as a kid that was just so awesome. One of the eggs here is literally just hidden behind this crystal wall outside, and as a kid I got stuck here for a while. Besides that, I do think the other eggs are nice, however not as nice as the eggs in number 3, Evening Lake. I mean, come on, there's an egg inside of a whale. There's also a challenge with invincibility for an egg, and then after that you can get to this egg up here. I do also like that all of the main levels are underwater, but I might have preferred just 1 or 2 levels being underwater. However, I still prefer the ambiance and feel of the Midnight Mountain. I think the floating islands is just a better design than a lake with a tower in the middle. Number 2, Midday Gardens, and this hub is neat. I do like that there's an ice cave and Spooky Swamp is in a tree, but besides that, there just isn't too much going on here. There's an egg for blowing up these flower pot pedestals. Okay. Yeah, it's just the generic hub, and if every hub in the game was this quality, I'd say it'd have the worst hubs in the trilogy. Actually, it may be regardless. And if I think this hub is so bad, why isn't it number 1? Number 1 is even worse. Morning Spring. Sunrise Spring? Whichever. This hub is way too short. Very first steps, corridor where the cave is, little hallway of trees for that one cutscene, tiki guy, small lake, that's all. The only decent egg is at the end of the cave, and Hunter takes you to the cave, so it isn't even that remarkable. And while Midday Gardens isn't a fun hub at all, this one is even shorter with even less variation.
Yeah, the hubs here are a mixed bag, so while it seems weird that I put them on the worst half list, 2 of them were going to be anyway. And from the next section, only 1 of these 4 levels was on the best half list anyway. And I guess it makes sense because, like, Spyro can charge. And you can't say that for any of the SPCs.
Yes, the special characters, or the SPCs in Spyro 3 are, in general, pretty fun, and a pretty nice break of the gameplay, but the one downside to adding new characters instead of giving Spyro new moves is that Spyro has charge. Now, Agent 9 isn't the slowest, and Sergeant Byrd isn't too bad since you can fly, but Bentley and Sheila are just so insufferably slow that it's insufferable. And I'm thinking if this is an overall ranking of the SPCs in general, and it doesn't matter, because obviously Agent 9 is the best, and that is all that matters here. Agent 9's lab. Easily the best SPC level in the game, and easily the best SPC in another level with his Doom replica section in Fireworks Factory. Agent 9's lab isn't an FPS shooter though, it's a third-person shooter. And that's okay. They give you grenades, and it's like I'm playing Uncharted, but with a monkey. Anyways, this level is actually pretty fun. Zooming in to kill all the vultures was always neat, and yeah, he's a monkey with a gun. I don't know what you want from me. Number 3, Sheila's Alps, and I did have a hard time shifting the other 3 SPCs around. However, after some deliberation, Sheila's not the worst. Now controlling Sergeant Byrd might be more fun in small doses, especially considering how slow Sheila is, but she hops and stuff. And with her double jump, this is an awesome new level of verticality achieved. Wall caves, other wall caves, and getting through this level, not terrible. Number 2, Sergeant Byrd's base. Now getting through this level is pretty annoying. I'd say in theory, Sergeant Byrd is a great character. In practice, he's super clunky. I do like the layout of this level, it's just getting through it that's a hassle. And with how slow he flies sometimes, it makes a decent sized level just way too long. Which isn't the worst thing, it could be super short and unbearably boring. Number 1, Bentley's Outpost. Standing in one spot, button smashing these totem poles. Standing in one spot, button mashing club spin at a seal throwing a snowball. It is just not fun at all. Man, Bentley is just so slow and clunky, and he can barely jump. So all his hidden caves are on ground level. Nothing hidden like with Sheila or Sergeant Byrd. And I guess, yeah, this is my SPC ranking as well after all. Yes, Sergeant Byrd could have been better, however, he wasn't the worst, and that means somehow Sheila is second best? Yeah, I don't know anymore.
And once again, I know it is weird seeing these levels here, but I mean, when you take a great game and you take the worst half, it's still great. However, that being said, the Sparks levels are more of just a fun mini game. Comparative to the rest of the game, yeah, it's not even close.
Yes, the fact that you can play as Sparks is great, but I mean, come on, it's a 2D top-down ship strafing shooter in a platformer. These were naturally going to come in towards the bottom, but that being said, they're still fun. And the funnest would probably be Spider Town. And if there's one thing that each Sparks level shines at in comparison to other levels, this one has the enemies going for it. The spiders are fast and have this straight at you approach, and the placement of the larger spiders in the pots that produce small spiders are great. Just traversing this level is great because of how much the paths twist and turn. It's really cool to look at with its spooky-ish ambiance, and it's just fun due to all the challenging but fair enemies. All in all, this Spark stage is pretty great. Number 3, Crawdad Farm, and this level has a decent aesthetic and layout, and the enemies aren't bad at all. But what really makes this level shine is the room with all the multicolored doors. The little puzzle of needing to get keys of a certain color that correspond with a certain door is actually pretty fun. And even if it isn't pretty fun, at least it's not annoying like Bugbot Factory, where you have multiple keys for multiple electric doors but have no way of knowing which door is going to unlock. Also, I just love the boss's face. This dude shares a striking resemblance to a certain Daniel Fortescue. Number 2, Starfish Reef, sort of ocean themed, and it's a pretty nice level. Aesthetically, it's nice, and the layout is pretty good as well. However, the reason this level is coming in second place is the enemies. The starfish enemies in this level are just straight up annoying. Like, they just go wide whenever you break them down from a bigger starfish, and it just makes the whole aiming and straightening and strafing and re-aiming and boosting away and re-aiming is just super annoying. You just constantly find yourself taking out a few starfish, then zooming away so you can reposition at the other starfish that are going to your left and right. And the worst Sparks stage, we have Bugbot Factory, and aesthetically, this might be the best of the Sparks levels. I do love the futuristic look and the fact that this level is basically a factory where they make robot insects. However, that's about all this level has going for it. I think this may be the only Sparks level to utilize chasing a thing with a key, and it isn't done too bad. However, I will say that the first key thing that you have to chase is super fast and super annoying. And as far as the layout of this level goes, it seems shorter than the others. Like from start to finish, it's pretty short. It's just all little tiny branching paths and nooks and crannies that make this level feel a bit longer.
And like I said, although all these Sparks levels are in the worst half, I still kind of enjoy them. They're just different and not as good. The flying levels, on the other hand, oof.
And the flying levels are basically the same. 4 groups of 8 items, a hunter challenge, and new to 3, a race. Yeah, they're lame. And the least lame would be number 4, Country Speedway. Aesthetically, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. The standard flying part is okay, nothing super annoying. The race is decent as well, pretty easy to beat, which is great because who wants to come in second and restart the whole race again? Oh my god. I do think the path for this race is the best, offering a bunch of star boosts for cutting corners, and the hunter challenge here is probably the best. On the rails, jetpack shooting section, and it's pretty decent. Wait, are you in a spaceship? I don't know, you're shooting at like cow UFOs, it's fun. Number 3, Honey Speedway, and aesthetically this one might be the best. Something about the nighttime and the glowing honeycombs is nice. However, the standard section can be easy to miss one of the collectibles, and that can be annoying. The race is okay, not as good as Country Speedway, but it's still a race and I don't like them anyway. The Hunter Challenge is okay as well. You are in a boat and you have to hop over obstacles while a UFO chases you. Yeah, nothing here is super terrible, it's just a little less bearable than Country Speedway. And number 2, Mushroom Speedway, and man, I can't stand this level. The collecting part is easy enough, nothing too out of the way, and if you miss something, it should be easy enough to get it, but the race here sucks. I don't know if it's because there aren't enough speed boosts or what, but I've lost this race a couple times, and it sucks having to do it over and over. And Hunter's Challenge sucks as well. You have to shoot down ships in your ship, and it should be fun, but the damn UFOs shoot back at you, and sometimes you cover the blast, like visually you cover it up, and you can't even see them blasting you, and you die. You can't just fly around blasting, you have to actively be avoiding them the whole time as well, and it sucks. And number 1, Harbor Speedway, and yeah, it's kind of a toss-up between this and Mushroom Speedway, but something about each challenge here is just infuriating. The collecting section is easy for 3 out of the 4 of them. The old fish, however, are super annoying. They go from land to water, and touching the water fails the challenge. Oh, what? Man, these fish just suck, and the race is pretty damn terrible too. Similar to Mushroom Speedway, there aren't as many speed boosts, and one of them is under a bridge, so you'll have to hit that one once or twice, and hitting the bridge will cause you to fall into the water and lose. Why? And in the hunter section, you chase a UFO, but you have to fly through its exhaust rings to chase it. And if you miss a ring, even if you're literally right behind him, somehow you can't keep following him and you lose and have to start over. Like, that doesn't even make sense. And what's worse is if you cut corners, you can end up right behind him. Then the exhaust rings come out literally where you are, and if you are too far left or right, you just lose. It's terrible. I hate it, and it's terrible.
And that's the worst level in Spyro 3. Those are the worst levels in Spyro 3. And as I did mention, only 3 of these levels would have been on the best half: Evening Lakes, Midnight Mountain, and Age of 9's base. And there was only 4 levels that are going to be on the best half that actually would have made it onto the worst half list. But it ended up making more sense to just divide them this way for some reason. I guess because it makes me feel less bad that I think all of these levels are trash. And that's gonna wrap this one up. Thanks a bunch for watching. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with a friend, a relative, a random stranger on the street. Next time we'll be covering the best levels, or technically we'll just be ranking the actual levels in the game. After that, the best eggs, the worst eggs, not all of them. There are 150, that would be insane. After that, I will be undumping my Fallout 4 survival mode playthrough that I've already started. I'm already a few episodes in. It's not really taking up too much of my time, but I will be trying to get those all out as I've As I finish Spyro, I'll dump all of the saved ones at a relative pace to where I can keep going while playing the game, but I will be starting my next deep dive into Kingdom Hearts, starting with Kingdom Hearts Final Mix 1.5. If you would rather see Super Mario 3D All-Stars, just let me know, because I do want to play that game as well. So it's kind of a toss-up, but I'm leaning towards Kingdom Hearts. So if anybody says Super Mario 3D All-Stars over Kingdom Hearts, then I'll start doing Super Mario 3D All-Stars instead of Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, as for Fallout 4, I'm going to do that anyway, just because I love playing the game, and I'm going to be playing it anyway. So instead of a drought of videos, I'll just be posting edited down gameplay, which is going to be pretty fun. It's going to be pretty fun. If you like Fallout 4, that's going to be fun. If you don't like it, you know, stick around, hang out. Yeah, I hope I can entertain somewhat. But I have my doubts. And until next time, peace.